Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 6, module 6. Before we dive into week 6, I wanted to kind of go over week 5 just a little bit because we talked about various behaviors, and I really believe that's a foundation for our field. So I kind of want to go over what we discussed in week 5. So, first of all, your peer reviews in week 5 that are due. I am beginning to go over those today and grade all those, and what I've seen so far, they're wonderful. And so I want to make sure that you know those will be graded. I want to make sure you take that information from your peer review and apply it to your observation 1 and then submit your observation 1. Okay. Um, and a little bit about theorist behavior that we touched bases on in week 5. That was part of our discussion. So we talked about several theorists. First one being Freud, which is influences by family. So family influences is Freud. Erickson is biology, right? The 8 stages of development. Make sure that you are aware of those. Piaget, he talked about 4 different stages, and he really covered the thinking area. So he talked about biological maturation as well as social interaction. And both those are very important, all weaved within these 4 stages. Then we had Skinner and Watson, who believed in social learning and reinforced behaviors. The experience a child has will create the way they think. So that could be positive or negative, right? And then Maslow's pyramid, I should say, that we talked about is both physical and psychological, which is safety first being on that bottom foundation, and then it goes up love and social needs and so forth. But if that bottom foundation is not being met, you can't move on to the next level. Now, you also can have a child rise to the next levels in that pyramid, but then go back down. For instance, the pandemic, what we're going through right now. If the child's needs are not being met, they could go up a little bit and then all of a sudden go all the way back down. If we don't have that safety first, homelessness, just the environment that which the child is in, if we don't have that first, they cannot move on to the next level. And then lastly, we talked about Vygotsky, which was he is social interaction and how he believes that culture plays a large issue, and a child continually is learning through culture and the family dynamics, right? And then we're going to jump into module 6, but I just want to kind of go over the theorists with you again. So in module 6, you're going to be reading chapter 6. And so what you'll be learning and what you'll be taking from chapter 6, you might want to take a note of these prior to reading, is you want to make sure you can be able to describe the characteristics and the uses of frequency count as an observational tool. You also will be able to discuss the core emotions and how they are displayed at different developmental levels, as well as generating a strategy a teacher can use to provide an emotional, secure environment within a classroom group. And that's really important. This week we'll be touching a little more in diving into our discussion. So, and I will go into that momentarily, but that's when we'll be covering that. And also examine behaviors at various ages that give concern about emotional development. So, what are those red flags that we can see that will help the child move through the emotional development? The SLOs, we have 2 SLOs that we'll be covering this week. And then, of course, to be successful in the module, you will have to read our textbook, Chapter 6. You should look over the videos and the PowerPoint um, that I provide for you prior to taking the quiz, which is due on Friday. And then the discussion this week is emotional difficulties. And before I jump into that topic, I want to make sure you are all aware that the original thread is due by Wednesday. The 2 peer posts are due by Friday, right? And they have to all 3, so it's original and 2 peer, all 3 of them have to be on different days for you to receive full credit. Now, again, Wednesday is the first thread, and then by Friday is the next 2 threads, but again, they have to all 3 be on separate days. And then, of course, observation 1 is due on March 20th. So I want to go over our discussion real quick. So after reading chapter 6, I want you to tell me personally, what is how would you handle the following difficult emotions, right? What would be your response to a child who is continually crying? What would be your response on social withdrawal and not speaking? How would you handle a child that displays that difficulty? As well as extreme hostile aggression within the classroom and extreme fearfulness. I want you to tell me how you would handle each of those. And again, original thread is due by Wednesday and must be 100 words in length. And then the two peer posts is due by Friday. Again, all on individual days. And that is it for Module 6. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if not, have a fabulous week, and I'll see you soon.